Jagacharya Sutara Sadasman Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Koti Swami ki jai. Namacharya Srila Vilas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Sam Radha Kundi ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Navaveda Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to the Swami. All glories to the Swami. All glories to the Swami. Thank you very much.
कृष्णे जानाइया दारी ब्रह्मणे लइया गेला कृष्णे चरणे ब्रह्मा धन्यवाद कइला. So we have been discussing yesterday Brahma visiting Krishna as four-headed Brahma. He was little proud that I am the original first creature of this universe. I have got four heads, four hands. That the material nature, the influence of material nature is like that. In Brahma, we are supposed to be in full knowledge of Vedic literature. He is the father of Vedic literature. He handed over the Vedas to Narada. Still, that ahankar, I am something, is there even in Brahma. And what to speak of ordinary living entities like that. This material conception of life is like that. I am and mine. Aham mameti. Aham mameti. I am something supreme and it is mine. This is the material view. So, these things are sometimes exhibited by great Ishvara, controller, like Brahma, like Shiva. They sometimes exhibit material frailties. They are not fallible in that way, but they teach us by their behavior that even personalities on the most exalted position, they are also sometimes subjected to the spell of illusory energy. The idea is that we should be very careful. Nobody should think that he is beyond the range of material energy. At any time we can fall down. But if we stick to the Krishna consciousness, always thinking of Krishna as our protector, and take shelter unto his lotus feet sincerely, then even if we fall down sometime, not intentionally but accidentally, because we have practiced so many bad things, so it may be possible that even I take full care, still the influence is so strong, I may fall down. Krishna excuses such kind of fall down, excuses. But if we intentionally think, because I am in Krishna consciousness, because I am engaged in devotional service, I can do any nonsense and Krishna will excuse me. No, not like that. No. Krishna will excuse you provided you do not do anything intentionally wrong. We should be generally those who are in Krishna consciousness fully, they have, as already explained to you, they have got all these 26 qualifications. That is the perfection of Krishna consciousness. When we see the 26 qualification in full present, that means he is perfect in Krishna consciousness. If those qualities are not present, that means there is still, I mean to say, the touch of contamination of material nature. Rava bhaktasya kuto mahatma. So far, those who are not in Krishna consciousness, their material academic qualification has nowhere. Have an MA, PhD he may be. Why? Manorathina asato 𝐉𝐻𝐈𝐍. Because the materialist without Krishna consciousness, that is a materialist. One who has no conception of God or Krishna and his proper relationship with him, one who does not know the science of God, he is called materialist. Krishna janaya dari brahmane loiya gela. Krishna charane brahma dandavat kaila. So we have been discussing yesterday Brahma visiting Krishna as four-headed Brahma. He was little proud that I am the... Now he is materialist. And one who makes progress in the science of Krishna under regulation and under principle, they are called spiritualists. So, materialist disease is that Rava bhaktasya kuto mahadagana manorathina asato 𝐉𝐻𝐈𝐍. Unless we take to Krishna consciousness fully, we shall hover. Now he is materialist. And one who makes progress in the science of Krishna under regulation and under principle, they are called spiritualists. So, materialist disease is that Rava bhaktasya kuto mahadagana manorathina asato 𝐉𝐻𝐈𝐍. Unless we take to Krishna consciousness fully, we shall hover over the mental plane. You will find so many philosophers, doctors of philosophy, they can go on speculating, mental plane, mana. But actually they are asat, their activities will be same. It is materialistic, there is no spiritualistic realization. So more or less degree, this material conception is everywhere. Abrahma bhuvanaloka. Krishna says, Abrahma bhuvanaloka. Beginning from the lowest planet up to the Brahmaloka, they are all affected. So similarly, Brahma, he thought himself, though, how great I am, that in my jurisdiction Krishna, my Lord, has come and is praying like a boy, cowherd boy. How much great I am. Krishna has come just like a cowherd boy. You see. Therefore, he Krishna janaya dari brahmane loiya gela. Krishna inquired which Brahma has come. Now the doorman takes him inside and he enters Krishna's room, offers his respect. Krishna charane brahma dandavat kaila. Now, if Krishna is ordinary person, as a foolish rascal thing, the apajananti mang mudha. The foolish rascals deride at me as ordinary man. How is it possible that Brahma is offering his respect to Krishna? If you think that these are all stories, not stories. Do you think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking some stories, some fabricated stories to get his followers? Do you think like that? No. Lord Chaitanya, such a great devotee, apart from his feature of incarnation, take him as a great devotee, learned. He was vastly learned, and nobody could surpass him in his learning in those days. He defeated, when he was a 16 years old boy, he defeated the greatest scholar, Keshav Kashmiri. His name was Keshav. He came to Navadvip from Kashmir to talk with scholars. Formerly, as nowadays, you have got what is called champion. What is the meaning of champion? Best. Just like in sporting, there are champions in chess board playing champion, or so many departmental champions. This is coming from time in the long ago. So similarly, there were champions of scholars. Just like in modern days, a sportsman will challenge, and if he is victorious all over the world. Similarly, in those days, there were competition of the great learned scholars, championship. So these Keshav Kashmiri, at least in India, that was the system, even 500 years before. The Keshav Kashmiri, he was a Pandit. Now, India was united on the strength of religious culture and Sanskrit language. All over India, the lingua franca, the language, common language, at least for the scholars, not for the common man. The common man could speak any language, Hindi, Parsi, or Bengali, Uriya, Telugu, so many, there are so many languages. Every district will find some language. But that was not taken into consideration. When education is concerned, every student all over India, they would take education in Sanskrit. Sanskrit language was this. So our present government, they have introduced the state language as Hindi. There are so many protests and so many faults. They would have done better if they would have introduced Sanskrit language as it was previous. So the Sanskrit language was the one, and the culture was Vedic. Therefore, there was no disunion. Every part of the country in India, the same system. He may be a Bengali, he may be a Maharashtrian, he may be a Gujarati, or he may be a Uriya. There are so many provinces, but the culture was the same. Another unity was that sacred places were distributed all over India. Just like Gaya, a sacred place, it is situated in Bihar, and sacred place, Banaras, it is situated in Uttar Pradesh. Vrindavan is situated on the border of Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. Similarly, Kashmir and Punjab also. In South India, Rameswaram, in the Himalayan province, Haridwar. In this way, all these provinces are distributed, and still it is going on. The provincialism is amongst the educated side. So far the mass of people are concerned, they don't know what is province. They travel from one province to another. They don't require any visa, they don't require any passport. So that was very nice. So this Sanskrit scholar, Keshav Kashmiri, he came from Kashmir to challenge the learned scholars in other parts of the country. 4 celebrated places where highly educated scholars were there. One was at Benares. Benares still it is considered to be the center of Sanskrit scholars' place. Similarly, Navadvip, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. And in Bihar, there was a place, Darbhanga. That is also a scholarly place. So, Benares and Baharampur. Baharampur in East Bengal, near Dhaka. So, some of the places in India, they are very famous for learned scholars. Still they are continuing. So, Sanskrit scholars would come to such celebrated places and they would challenge for arguing on the Shastras. So, the rule was that 2 parties will argue and the defeated party will become the disciple of the victorious party. That was the system. The Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was 16 years old, this case of Kashmiri came to Navadvip to challenge. In other places he was victorious, he became champion. And then at last he came to Bengal, Navadvip. So that scholarly discussion will take place. Now notice is already given, the Keshav Kashmiri has come here and he had an umbrella and the 4 sides was covered with gold and the one side is remaining. As soon as he becomes victorious in Navadvip, that side also will be covered with gold. So the people of Navadvip, learned scholars, they first of all thought that Nimai Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was known as Nimai Pandit, because he was boy, 16 years old boy, very learned scholar, especially in logic. He was very learned scholar, logician. He was so, even in his 60 years, with his class friend, he will establish one theory, again he will cut it, again he will establish, again he will cut it, again he will establish them in his own way. He was so learned scholar, logician. So, the elderly scholars of nowadays, they design that this Nimai Pandit should be forwarded first to talk with Keshav Kashmiri, because he is a boy, but he is a very nice boy, very learned boy. See, if he becomes victorious, then our Navadvip will be glorified, that Keshav Kashmiri is defeated by a 16 years old boy in Navadvip. And if Nimai Pandit is defeated, then we shall go forward. Then we shall say, oh, you have defeated a boy, let us come to us. So you get second chance. And that was the plan, Bengali plan. Second chance. First chance, second chance. So it was arranged like that Lord Chaitanya, Nimai Pandit would talk discuss with Keshav Kashmiri. So one evening, still during summer season, on the Ganges side. In the evening there are so many ladies and gentlemen, especially gentlemen, ladies do not come. Nowadays come. Formerly they did not come out. So they came for strolling. And Nimai Pandit, although he was 16 years old, he had many students. So formerly the system was that as soon as a boy becomes little grown up and learned, he'll also teach some students, Chatuspat. So although all the students were of the same age, but still Nimai Pandit was chief of them. So he was discussing with his own students on the bank of the Ganges. The Keshav Kashmiri came there for strolling, and he understood that, oh, here is a boy, Nimai Pandit. He used to talk with me. So what this boy will talk with me? He thought like that. So when he came before the assembly of the students, and he talked with him, are you Nimai Pandit? Oh, yes sir. Who are you? I am Keshav Kashmiri. Oh, come on, sit down. The introduction was there. They sat down, and then Nimai Pandit requested, so I have heard that you are very vastly learned scholar, and from your teacher also I can understand. So best thing will be that you compose some poetry in praising Ganges, because they are on the bank of the Ganges, and it is a Hindu system. Ganges water is considered very sacred, and there are many prayers of Ganges. Patitad Dharini Ganga. Patitad Dharini Ganga. Ganges is the shelter for all the fallen souls seek and deliver. Shankaracharya also had composed many poems on the Ganges. There are many poetries on the Ganges. So Keshav Kashmiri was very learned scholar. He, without any hesitation, he began to compose Sanskrit verses in praising Ganges. So he composed about 100 verses immediately while talking. So out of the 100 verses, on the 64th verse, Lord Chaitanya pointed out, will you kindly explain this line? I am little difficult to understand. What is that? There was a word, Bhavani Bhatta. Bhavani Bhatta. Bhavani means husband of Bhavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pointed out that Bhavani, Bhava means Lord Shiva, and Bhavani means Lord Shiva's wife, and Bhatta means husband. So this Bhavani word itself indicates that she is the wife of Lord Shiva, and why you have stated again Bhatta, again husband. This is called Virukti Dosh. Sanskrit language is very scholarly language. Reform. You cannot deviate even a line, even a letter in the sense, in the poetry, in the writing. There are all regulations, strict regulations, grammatical and metric and so many things. So nobody can surpass. And not that, just like nowadays we write poetry, one line 300 miles, 100. No, only 1 mile. Or that sort of poetry will not be allowed in Sanskrit. You cannot adjust 300 miles and 1 mile. No. It must be very symmetrical. That is Sanskrit language. So, the Pandit, Kashmiri Pandit became surprised. The Kashmiri Pandit became surprised. How is that? This boy understood he was a student of grammar and he is pointing out any literary defects. Oh, he became very much surprised. Then he admitted, he was not a scholar, he admitted his fault. And he said, how is that? I have heard that you are a student of grammar and you are pointing out the defects in literary construction. No, yes. Yes, sir, I am a student of grammar. But I have heard it from great scholars like you. Of course, I do not know, but I have heard it. He very submissively replied that I am not scholar, but I have heard it from scholars that this is defect. He could understand that he is a very clever student. And there were many others. He pointed out defects. He thought in the beginning, he is asking to compose some poetry. I shall show him how can I compose poetry. 100. He did not care so much that he will point out so many defects in them. But when he saw it, he became sorry. And then the students, Lord Chaitanya's students, as it is usual, they began to laugh. Chaitanya laughed at once. Don't laugh in that way. So this Keshav Kashmiri went to his home, and he was a devotee of Goddess Saraswati. He prayed, "Now, Mother, I was never defeated in such a way. What offense I have made unto your lotus feet, that I am defeated before a boy." So then Goddess Saraswati presented herself in dream and informed that this boy is not ordinary boy. You are fortunate that you are defeated before him. Best thing will be that you go and surrender unto him and he will be profit. So this Keshav Kashmiri became a student of Lord Chaitanya, and this is it. So these popped up things are going on in every field of activity. But Lord Krishna, he is always greater than everyone. So here Brahma is asking, Krishna manna puja kari tare Krishna kahila kilagi tomar yaha agaman haila. As he offered his respect to Krishna, Krishna received him. Welcome, Brahma. I am very glad to see you. What is this special message that you have all of a sudden you come here? So Brahma kahe taha pache koriba nivedan ek sangshay mone hoy karo chedan. Yes, sir, I shall speak for what for I have come here, but I have got some doubts. First of all, you kindly clear this doubt. Then, and what is that doubt? এক সংশয় মনে করা হচ্ছে না। কোন ব্রহ্মা পুছিলে তুমি কোন অভিপ্রায় আমার ওই জগতে আর কোন ব্রহ্মা হয়? You have asked which Brahma? So I am surprised. Is there any other Brahma than myself in this world? শুনি হাসি কৃষ্ণ তবে করিলেন ধ্যানে অসংখ্য ব্রহ্মার গণ আইল তদক্ষণ। Krishna smiled. Oh yes, there are so many Brahmas, I am calling them. So innumerable Brahmas appeared before Krishna. 10-20 শত সহস্র অযুত লক্ষ বদন কোট্টারুর মুখ কারণ অজয় গণ। So unlimited, he had 4 faces, 4 heads, and there many Brahmas came with 100,000 of faces. So that was exhibited by Krishna. So this instruction is that we speak of God as unlimited, but when he makes some manifestation of unlimitedness, we take it in a different way. But actually, that is not the fact. If God has unlimited potency, He can do anything and everything. That is unlimitedness. We should not restrict God with our speculative mind that how is that, four-headed Brahma, then 1,000-headed Brahma, how it is possible? Yes? If Krishna likes, God likes, He can make millions of headed Brahma. Otherwise there is a meaning of unlimited. He can show anything and everything. You should accept. So, these things are going on. We shall discuss later on, tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Any question?